السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بالشباب في بث جديد. في هذا البث راح نعرض لكم ونشوف الحدث الجديد، الذكرى الثامنة للعبة Dead by Daylight. راح تشوفون كلر الجديد وبعض الأشياء، مابات وخرابيط التفاهات المعتادة اللي كل سنة يجيبونها لكم. عاد نتأكد. شوف باقي دقيقة، خلينا نشوف وش راح يجيبون، وش السماجة اللي راح يجيبونها. طبعا اكيد لازم فيه شغل شذوذ ما شذوذ كلام فاضي، لازم حركات الغرب اللي ما تنتهي. انا اقدم اختصر علي. خلصوا وانت من الاعلانات. خلاص يا رجال، خلنا اقصر الصوت عشان الموسيقى كوبي رايت، لاني اعرف يجيك كوبي رايت ماشي مليون، ذلك نقصر الصوت لين عاد يخلص ونرجع. خلصوا انتم الموسيقى حقتكم النايمة. خلاص خلنا نشوف عجل. يمكن خلصت الموسيقى ولا لا؟ فيه صوت واضح. واضح بس لازم اعلي من عندي كذا كذا. ايوه صادق كذا. جابوا شو هالوين مدري ايش ولا سترينجر ثينجز، الشركات اللي معاونه معنا.
We are live. Thank you everybody for joining us. That trailer gets me so hyped.
So hype, oh my goodness, it's so good. And the jump scare at the end is necessary.
Yes. So hi everybody around the world and YouTube and
شاشة مقلوبة يا اخي. دائما تسأل معك تليفون يمديك تشوفها بالمقلوب اذا معك تليفون. عاد انت على الكمبيوتر عاد صعبة.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is DVD's official 8th anniversary celebration.
Yes, and it's truly amazing to already know that we're on our 3rd live stream of the year, with only more to come. And we just have to say thank you on behalf of the entire Dead by Daylight team for 8 amazing years of support from community worldwide.
Yep. So today we are going to be looking at everything that's coming over the coming year. We're going to be starting pretty soon after our little intro here with something that we already teased a few days ago, and that's Dungeons and Dragons coming to Dead by Daylight. So it's going to be a full chapter. We're going to dive into that, and in fact, after the show today, that will be playable on Steam on the PTB.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But this wouldn't be a Dead by Daylight anniversary live stream without a couple of surprises. So you're definitely going to want to stay for the full broadcast to see everything we've got to reveal today. But we've also got a live Q&A. So if you have any questions, please do make sure to drop them in your respective chats so we can answer as many as possible at the end of the stream. But let's go ahead and take a look at what our show is for today.
Yep, we've got a great one lined up. We're going to be joined by our buds Steph and Justin to walk you through our Year 9, which is a crazy number, Year 9 content and design roadmap. And then after that, Senior Product Manager Derek is going to join us to talk about upcoming gameplay and quality of life improvements coming to the game, including one that you're not going to want to miss.
Yes, and then we'll have Dave and Janik here to reveal everything coming with the latest chapters for Dead by Daylight. Then we're going to have some updates about the other projects we've got in the world of DVD, that being the casting of Frank Stone by Supermassive and an unnamed multiplayer PvE game by Midwinter. Then we'll have Justin, a completely different Justin from the one Eric talked about, coming in to break down this year's in-game shenanigans
مصيبتهم
for the
يحطون لك
anniversary.
يتكلمون عن
And
أشياء
last,
وما
we'll have
يطبقونها إلا
our
بعد 4
Q&A,
سنوات 5
which,
سنوات
once
يطبقون
again,
ذي
drop your
الأشياء.
questions in the chat so we
يومهم
can answer
بسنة
as many
هم
as
مشكلتهم.
possible. And who knows, we might have some
يومهم
other little
بسنة.
surprises.
And while you're dropping your questions, we thought we would drop some content on you. You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
I just made that up. Twitch drops are back. So if you've watched our streams before, we like to offer Twitch drops to our viewers, and today is no exception. So they're live right now, and you can get them by connecting your behavior account to your Twitch account. So there should be a QR code you can see. There should be links in the Twitch chat to jump over and get that hooked up if you're not already.
Yes, and if you're new to Twitch Drops with Dead by Daylight, all you need to know is that by watching any Dead by Daylight stream in the Twitch directory, you'll be accruing watch time, which will allow you to claim 3 of the Twitch Drops we have active today until May 28th. The first one, if you've already been with us since the start of our stream, you're already on your way to claiming, which is going to be the Totem in-game badge. And then after this, if you watch any other Dead by Daylight stream, for 4 hours, you'll get the Crimson Hue in-game banner. And then lastly, for 8 years, 8 watching time, you'll be able to get the Greenville, Welcome to Greenville in-game banner.
So enjoy those drops, but we mentioned surprises, and we've got one to kick the show off with. So the first of which is actually a new game.
Oh my God.
New game, oh my God.
We've got a game that we haven't told anybody about yet. It's from the world of Dead by Daylight. We're going to share it with you right now. It features some familiar faces. And most importantly, it is super duper fun, and I think you'll be surprised. So let's take a look.
ما اللي عارف ان كلر بيضيفون الحين هذه لعبة جديدة. نشوف شو اللعبة الجديدة حقتهم. لا تقول لعبة تليفون، تكفى تقول لعبة تليفون. ولا تيبل توب، يا تيبل توب يا لعبة طاولة ولا لعبة تليفون. شكلها لعبة تليفون، أنا الطريق تريلر والله انك شكلها لعبة تليفون. لعبة تليفون.
You and your friend are trapped in our world, and danger is
الخياس، وش الخياس؟
Don't despair. Use your new magic abilities against the swarms of monsters that want you dead. Run, jump, and shoot to collect blood points to repair generators, increasing your powers along the way.
خياس كان لعبة جوال يا رجال.
To escape together.
معليش اللي جابهم الفكرة هذه من اقترحها.
Use spells to keep your friend alive until they can revive you. Do you and your friend have what it takes to survive? Ponder this as you ask yourselves, what the fuck?
يا خايسة. For free. وإذا behavior account بلاش معقولة. معقولة تصير ببلاش. على الخياس ذا طبيعي تصير ببلاش.
Oh my God, that song is so earwormy. It's gonna get stuck in my head.
The game itself is like the guitar solo.
Yeah, like I'm already gonna walk away and just okay. But anyway, yes, you saw that correctly. What the Fog is now available, and it's not only that, but it's free for current behavior account holders and new subscribers. But we do have a limit of free keys, so you're gonna want to make sure that you make your behavior account after the stream, of course, or in another tab. Just don't leave. But go ahead, grab that, claim it on your account, and if you're unable to, then you're able to get it on Steam, which is exclusively on Steam for $4.99 USD.
Yep, and as you might expect with the drops, now a free game. A lot of people watching the stream. There might be some load on our behavior login system, so if there is, bear with us. We will get you in the door, and don't worry, you'll get the game. So as you might have been able to tell from that trailer, What the Fog, which is just the best title.
صلح لعبة زي العالم بيجونك ناس يسوون حسابات
surviving and escaping with each increasingly difficult level. So to do that, you go head-to-head with swarms of monsters and bosses, and as we mentioned, lots of heavy metal guitar.
Yes. So Eric and I got to play it before launch, and honestly, it was so crazy fun. Like I had that song stuck in my head.
crazy fun. لازم أقول لك إنها crazy fun عشان
you get your hands on it so that you can have fun, survive, and then get the fog out.
Nice. So that out of the way. See, you weren't expecting that. A lot of people are like, wait, what?
Surprises.
We're going to dive into the show. So we're going to hand things over to Stefan and Justin to talk about Dead by Daylight's Year 9 roadmap.
اخلص جبر Year 9 roadmap جبها خلينا نشوف شو بيحطون. هرج الزايد ما يمشي. نغاش اليد يا رجال خله عاد مستانس شحيمان. يلا هات الفرنسيين وين اخوياكم الفرنسيين خلهم يجون اخلصوا علينا. اخلصوا علينا جيبوا الفرنسيين خلوهم يعطونا الزبدة. اخلصوا يلا نادوهم اخلصوا. يلا جالسين يدورونه. وينك يا فلان تعال اخلص تعال. يلا جاوبوا. لا مو بالفرنسيين ما جابوا الفرنسيين
celebrating Dead by Daylight's 8th year anniversary. I'm Stefan Beauchamp.
هذا فرنسي.
And I am Justin Brown, product director. Really excited to be here with you today to talk a little bit about Dead by Daylight's Year 9 roadmap.
I'm going to take a second here at the top of the show to give a big shout out to our absolutely phenomenal team that's working on the game day in, day out. They are the reason we are here with you today and celebrate 8 amazing years of Dead by Daylight. Before going any further, I just want to address something that's probably going to get talked about quite a bit in the chats across the different channels. We know since the last update, there's been a rubber banding issue that's been plaguing the game. The team has been working extremely hard at it over the last few weeks. We have a tentative fix that the team has been working on that we're hoping to test on the PTB later today. If everything is successful with that, we will be deploying that fix to live, and hopefully it should improve the situation, but it's still to be confirmed, so keep an eye on our channels for that. We'll keep you all posted about this. Moving into the future a little bit, the coming year for Dead by Daylight is going to be huge, and that's saying something coming off of our biggest years to date. Since the last anniversary, we have released amazing licensed content such as Alien, Chucky, Alan Wake, and a personal favorite of mine, Nick Cage, such an amazing addition to the game. On top of that, we've also released our most popular original chapter to date, All Things Wicked.
Of course, and we can't forget, we did the Halloween event, which was bigger and better than ever with the introduction of the Void. This year, we introduced the concept of modifiers in Dead by Daylight, starting in February. Lights Out, we followed it with My Little Oni, and soon, later this week, we'll introduce Chaos Shuffle, the third one. We took a few steps towards improving the player experience between anti-face camp, blood web UX improvements, the killer FOV slider, survivor DC bots, and even the search bar. So there's a lot there. And finally, we've taken a few big steps towards increasing our transparency, our communication with regular live streams on each of our content releases thus far.
Enough talking about the past, let's dive into the future and what's really coming up for this year. We're happy to announce today that we have 6 new chapters currently in the works, and 2 of those chapters will be survivor-only chapters for this year. On top of that, we'll have the usual 4 new tomes that are going to be coming out throughout the year. As we've talked a little bit and teased even earlier last week, the first chapter that's going to be coming out is Dungeons and Dragons. And we're actually going to deep dive that in a soon-to-come segment shortly after this one, and it really promises to bring
هذه الشاشة كذا عاد إذا ودك تكتب اكتب ودك تتابع البث
تابع. Of course, we're going to follow that with a licensed survivor, a character who truly embodies the meaning of that word. After that, an iconic Killer Survivor duel will be coming into the fog, and if you stick around to the end of the show, you're going to get a little preview as to what that will be. We'll finish off 2024 with an original Killer and Survivor chapter, and we'll finish off the year
عشان يطلع البث عند اللي معهم تليفون. هذه الفكرة كلها يطلع لهم في الشورت.
It's a lot of stuff coming up. Moving a bit away from our content roadmap, we're going to take a closer look at the 4 pillars out of which the year will be based on. for those of you who have been with us for a long time, you'll see that there's consistency throughout the years with the 4 pillars that we're focusing on, but we're really adjusting the contents of each so that we're working on the features that have the most value and the most interest to all of our players in ways where we can expand the game further and further.
Of course, and we're going to start off with the trust and security pillar. Firstly, we're thrilled with the response to our regular broadcast. Really happy that, you can fully expect more to come
security, life balance, quality of life, events,
accompanying all of our major releases. Security is a topic we rarely talk about.
لا ما اسوي كليك بيت ما
اسوي
كليك بيت له طريقة ثانية ما احب العب على الناس بطريقة غبية.
AFK bots problem that we see, especially in some regions of the game. Phase 1 had very promising results, and we're certainly going to be taking that forward another step into Phase 2 in the coming year. Our next 2 pillars, live balance and quality of life, we won't discuss too much. Of course, you can expect regular live balance updates throughout the year and new quality of life. But my friend and colleague Derek will be coming up in the gameplay improvement segment.
أنا ودي أشوف أسمعهم يتكلمون عن السكيورتي عن الأمن هم يتكلمون عن نظام الحماية اللعبة. راح يتكلم عن شيء مفيد.
This one's going to be really exciting. Stay tuned for that because that is really something interesting coming up. Last but not least, our 4th pillar, events evolution. Events have always been a fundamental part of the game, especially the seasonal events. And this is something we're going to keep pushing forward over the coming year. With this year, we're starting to do a bit of a split where we're going to have our events happening on a separate matchmaking queue, which essentially means that at any time there's an event ongoing, you can decide to still play normal Dead by Daylight if that's what you're looking for, but you can also go into the event-specific queue and play some of that gameplay. This is really going to allow us to push gameplay further and further away from the typical way Dead by Daylight normally works, and it's going to be a very interesting way for us to approach events in a different way. On top of that, we can also expect more modifiers to make it in the game, whether it's the one we've talked about just before, that are going to be revisited throughout the year, or introducing new modifiers that are either tweaks on something or something completely different. But modifiers is just a little sliver of what we're planning to do this year, and I think we have something a little bigger that might be coming up.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm so happy to be here and let you guys know that for the first time ever, this summer, Dead by Daylight will have a new mode, not modifier, but a mode coming to you all. We've been listening and hearing your feedback. I'm really happy to let you know that this summer, replacing Scorching Barbecue will be the first ever time-limited 2v8 mode in Dead by Daylight. We'll be doing a full breakdown of what this mode is when we get closer to the
اثنين كيلرز ضد 8 سرفايفرز. هذا راح يحطون طور رسمي في اللعبة. تلعب يعني كيلرين ضد 8 والله بيطلع هبال 8 بيطلع هبال. شوفوا شباب، شوفوا 2 كيلرز ضد 8 سرفايفرز. والله احس بيطلع رهيب المود. انا هذا ودي العب هذا المود. هذه المودات الحلوة. هذا احس بيطلع هبال. والله احس بيطلع مود حلو. إذا 8 survivors 2 killers. Oh.
Boom. Thank you for joining us, Matt. Well, I know it's still early and everything is subject to change. I think it's going to be really fun to let the community in on some of our plans for this upcoming 2v8 introduction.
Absolutely. Thanks, Justin. So yeah, 2v8 is coming to DBD. This is a new game mode, which is really cool. Other gameplay events that we've done before, so Lights Out, My Little Oni, soon Chaos Shuffle, these are what we're calling modifiers. And modifiers basically take a DBD match, change a few things, but ultimately you're still playing DBD. With this new game mode, 2v8, we're fundamentally changing the way that you play Dead by Daylight. In this particular case, there's 2 killers, 8 survivors, and a bunch of new changes that we're going to get into very shortly. The focus with 2v8, we really wanted to hone in on what's exciting and fun and chaotic with DBD, and we're leaning more into a party mode kind of vibe rather than something that's super competitive. It's also worth mentioning that the way that we're building this, it's an iterative process, right? And this is just the first iteration. So we'll be looking to add more content, more gameplay in the future based on community feedback.
Absolutely, and I'm super excited to see what everybody says about this mode when it comes out. So first, let's break down a few of the key changes that we know are going to be coming for 2v8 this summer. I mean, of course, there's still generators, there's still exit gates, there's just more of them. We've made 5 maps bigger to accommodate all of the action, all of the chaos.
والله إذا ما في منافس بيمشون.
إذا
ما عندهم منافس بيستمرون باللعبة. في منافسين ممكن ياكلون شوي تبن مرة. بس ما في أحد ينافس.
That's right. Yeah, so when it comes to survivors, basically once you've chosen your character, you can select and equip a player class. And this class is effectively your power for the match, and it helps players identify what your role is within the team. So instead of mixing and matching perks, instead we really wanted to focus on a particular playstyle for this, and whether it's generator repair, healing, looping, speed, that kind of thing, that's what we're really going for with these classes.
Of course, and there's also just
يتكلمون يقولون المود هذا الطور الجديد راح يصير فيه كلاسات يعني كل واحد له اسلوب معين
differently for killers. You'll be able to choose from one of the 5 original killers.
بس 5 كيلرز تختار.
Killers obviously have powers, so they don't have classes in this mode.
بتختار بس الكيلرز الأصليين.
But we will be introducing a new mechanic, which is a team power. For example, if you are the Wraith, when you cloak yourself, if your teammate is within a certain radius of you, they will also get the undetectable status effect, allowing you to coordinate sort of team stealth attacks.
تستعملون abilities مشتركة بين بعض الكيلرز.
The reason that we're focusing on the 5
يعني لو الريث
killers
يختفى
is just to make sure that this is as accessible as possible. They're all free, everybody can play them, everybody can have fun. We want you to enjoy the content and give us your feedback. And in my opinion, the best part of this whole mode is the 2. It's the first time ever that success and failure as a killer does not rely solely on your shoulders. You have a teammate to sort of benefit from, learn from, or even, blame when things go poorly. So working together is just going to make the match so much more fun, so much more efficient.
Absolutely. Lastly, it's worth mentioning that for this mode, we really wanted to keep the action pace and the momentum flowing. During our playtests, we found that the process of downing a survivor, picking them up, carrying them to the hook, it really started to slow things down for this mode in particular. So we're doing away with hooks as well. There's no hooks in 2v8. Instead, once the killer's down a survivor, they'll be able to send them to a cage. This works very similar to Pyramid Head. It will teleport the survivor to another part of the map, away from the killers. And of course, this still counts as hook states. So once you've been hooked 3 times, you'll be out of the match. And as Justin said before, there will be 5 original killers coming to this iteration of this game mode, but we will be looking to add more as we iterate on it and add more to it. Of course, we'll also be improving the game as it goes along, so content will be coming in as well as updates to classes and gameplay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Matt. And to all of you at home, if you want to learn more about 2v8, please join us in our July live stream. We will hope you're looking forward to this year 9. For now, back to you, Eric and Dork.
قم بس انت وجهك شوف جاء تجهز بيقوم قم يعني 2v8 بيحطون فيه يعني 5 شخصيات كيلر، والكيلرز راح يكونون من الشخصيات يعني القديمة. غير كذا يقولك ان الكيلرز راح يستفيدون من قدرات بعض، راح يصير في فائدة. غير كذا راح يصير في اقفاص من بدل الهوكات زي بيراميد هيد. هذه يعني خلاصة السالفة كلها حقته اللي قاعد يعيد فيها ويزيد.
That roadmap.
Great segment, great beard, Stefan. People were loving the wet beard in chat. But the real story, 2v8.
2v8, yes. I cannot wait to dodge hatchets and chainsaws at the same time.
I can't wait for
فلقيني إذا سويتي داج. أول من بنصاد هي.
Forge friendships in the fog.
أول من بنصاد هي.
That was a great segment to watch. I loved the reactions in chat. I think the guys did a really good job of explaining this is the first iteration, and there's going to be a lot of changes based on community feedback. So that's why we're not just flipping the switch and making it permanent all of a sudden. You need to actually get the mode where we want it. But we're using the word mode, which means a lot. So pay attention. And speaking of paying attention, the website. That's a transition that doesn't make any sense. But the website for What the Fog has been overwhelmed by demand, as predicted. People love that cute little game. So we're working on it. Stay tuned. Don't worry. We have lots and lots of keys for it. So just as soon as we're able to tell you it's back up, we'll give you a mention on the stream here or in the chat.
Yeah. We definitely know you guys want to get your hands on it, but what we can do is tell you about something you can get your hands on today.
Yes, and so recently, I think it was December, we released 3 DLC packs. They're called Maddening Darkness, Old Wounds, and Macabre Tales. That was a way for players to get a big bunch of our older content all in one or 3 goes. And so we're actually going to be doing that again.
So this pack is actually going to pick up exactly where the last one left off, which is going to be the Endless Hunt pack. And in this pack, you're going to get 9 playable characters, starting with Portrait of Murder, Roots of Dread, Forge in the Fog, and Tools of Torment. And along with this pack is going to be all the additional outfits and DLC exclusive items. But of course, if you don't want to get the pack, they will be individually marked down in the in-game store, so you can get them there.
Yes, so that Endless Hunt pack is actually available right now. It is the best way, especially if you're a newer player to Dead by Daylight, to get a big bunch of great content. So that out of the way, we're going to keep the train rolling. Next up, we're going to be welcoming Derek, right where you're sitting. He's going to tell us all about gameplay improvements and quality of life improvements coming to Dead by Daylight, including a very big one.
هو المفروض انه يكون شيء اساسي المفروض بس ما راح يخلون شيء اساسي لانه انا ما ودي اشتمهم ما ودي اقول كلام ما له داعي بس انا موسخين ما راح يخلونه اساسي لا ما راح يكون اساسي لا تتحمس لا تخاف.
Welcome back everybody and welcome Derek to our stream for the first time.
Derek is from our product management team.
He works with the dev team on creating all sorts of cool quality of life updates, gameplay updates, and he's here to tell you about some good ones today. Derek, how are you?
شوفوا صورة الكيلر ورا. شوفوا تشوفونه فكنا ورا شوفوا. كل شوي اتكلم اقول شوفوا صورة الكيلر ورا.
So I already know what you've got to say, but I think people are going to be excited to hear about it. The upcoming challenge system. This isn't something we've told people about. Why don't you tell them about it right now? How is it going to benefit our players?
So we really wanted to deliver new in-game challenges to players and new ways for them to be constantly rewarded outside of just tomes and archives. So we're going to be introducing a new challenge system, which is a system of challenges, hence the name.
Perfect.
That players are going to be able to complete completely passively. That means that players don't need to actively select the challenge that they want to complete, and they can complete multiple of them at the same time. Initially, we're going to start with daily challenges, weekly challenges, and event challenges.
إيه فكنا شوف صورته ورا شوف الصورة ورا ناظر ورا في لوحة عليها فكنا ركز ناظر شوف فكنا فوق على اليسار شوف الصورة فوق شوفها فوق هذا هو شوف يحسبونك أعمى ما تشوف هذا هو شوفه فوق.
And it's going to be an amazing experience for everybody.
I think that's a really great addition. I think people in the community are going to really appreciate just being rewarded for doing what they already do, not having to go out and seek it, but just it's happening in the background at all times. That's really great. So another great thing that we're adding actually is how we talk to our players. That's the main job of my team, is talking and listening to our players. But we do it out in the world. We do it on social media. We do it on TikTok and Twitter and other places. But in-game is obviously the best place to talk to people, and you've got some updates there.
Yeah, we're here to make the players' lives easier and your life easier as well. So we're going to be introducing a new inbox-based system that will help connect players with the news that you have to announce, including patch notes, announcements, rewards, and a lot more.
أهم الأشياء اللي قالها يقول بيحطون نظام تشالنجات يعني باسف يعني تطلع تحديات بدون ما تضغط عليها وكذا هي من نفسها تطلع لك يعني وأنت تلعب.
Overall,
أكثر من تحدي يمديك تطلع. قال لك inbox ما يهمنا هم موضوعنا.
Like being able to tell people the patch notes in detail is something we couldn't do before, and now we can. So again, you don't have to go find it on the web, but you'll be able to get it in the game. Pop-ups, not pop-ups, but notifications for rewards as well is another great improvement. So really good work there by the team. But we're not done. Actually, this is something people are familiar with, the Finisher Mori system. We tested it out a while back in PTB, got a ton of great feedback from the community. The team took that feedback, went back to the shop to tinker with it, and we've got the final version to tell people about now.
Right. I love finisher Moris. I think they're a really amazing showcase for how deadly and gruesome our killers can be. But we also acknowledge that there was some room for improvement from the survivor's perspective. So like you said, we've taken the feedback, we've reiterated on it, and tried to land on what was the best player experience. So, in a coming update, finisher Moris are going to become a baseline feature for all killers in the game. That means that killers are going to have access to the killer finisher Moris by default, but they're only going to be able to use them on the last remaining survivor. That way, if the killer is able to successfully pull it off, we get an exciting conclusion to the match, and the survivors can feel that the game's ended in a fair way, and this match went smoothly, and it was a really exciting experience for everybody. Mori offerings are also going to be updated to instead give bonus blood points, so that it'll be a more rewarding experience.
والموري الاوفرنج حقتها راح يعطيك بلاد بوينتس زياده اذا استعملتها. يعني
happens at the end, like you said, so we're not killing the flow of the match. I think it's a really great balance from where we started and the feedback that we got, so kudos to you and the team. And that's all we've got from you today. Unfortunately, you have to go, but the show is far from over. Next up, we're going to hear about the new chapter coming to Dead by Daylight. So stay tuned, everybody.
يلا الحين بيتكلمون عن الشابتر الجديد. يلا انقلع قم يلا انت وياه قم يلا انقلع قلعوا. يلا تكلم عن الشابتر الجديد اخلصوا. هو لو ما كان فيكنا بيحطون شيء ثاني، وفيكنا بيحطونه بعدين يرجعونه. بس خلنا نشوف. هو اكيد فيكنا احس. ما يجيبون اعلان كذا على الفاضي. خلنا نشوف لان سمعت توي كان يقول ان دنجنز اند دراجونز الشابتر راح يكون بعدين، كاني سمعتها في البدايه انه جابوا الرود ماب. بس خلنا نشوف الكيلر الجديد. يلا اخلص يلا كيلر وينه؟
Dropping so casually such a highly anticipated feature with cross progression.
Yes, cross progression is finally coming. Super excited. And it's another reason for you to make your behavior account. So not only will you be able to get what the fog for free, but you'll also be prepping yourself for cross progression. Which we know that's something, you're once again going to have to be waiting to get your hands on. But we can now talk about merch, which you can get your hands on right now. So with the merch store, we've got the always popular mystery boxes coming back for this anniversary. And obviously because of the name, I can't tell you what's in the box. Maybe I'll try, But anyway, in the boxes, you're going to see 4 very exclusive DVD items specifically for this release. It's also going to include an art print where some of them are actually signed by our creative
جمعون المزبلة اللي عندهم في الموقع، المزبلة اللي منباعت يحطون الزبايل كلها في صندوق يبيعونها لك. يلا مستري باكس اشتري يلا $50 يلا $100.
It's a really cool
أوسخ شيء في الحياة انك تشتري شيء اسمه مستري باكس. هذه أكبر نصبة في تاريخ المشتريات كلها. انتبهوا لا أحد يشتري مستري باكس كلها نصب تراها.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's going to be an expansion pack for the Dead by Daylight the board game, and this is going to be called the Malicious expansion. It comes with 3 new killers: the Artist, the Dredge, and the Knight, and 4 new survivors: Michaela, Jonah, Hattie, and Vittorio. It's also going to come with 2 new maps, which is going to be the Garden of Joy and the Forsaken Boneyard.
Super exciting, and I'm so happy to see the success of the board game. I'm such a tabletop nerd that it's just such good quality, and I'm glad that people are resonating with it. So shout out to level99games.com, which is where you want to go to pre-order it. You'll get it later this summer. Obviously, the DVD merch shop as well is available. You can open it up on your phone with that QR code. You can go to another tab and get some shiny stuff.
Yes, it'll be really nice, especially like you said in the summer. Play it outside, touch some grass at the same time. So, other than that, if you have any questions about the content we've been dropping so far, it's been a lot of content. We will have our live Q&A segment at the end of the stream, so make sure you're dropping your questions into the chat. But other than that, roll initiative, because it's time to talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
يلا Dungeons and Dragons ورونا الكيلر يلا فكنا. شوف قناة.
First, there were many.
نفس كنا هذول شخصيات عادية. المهم هذا فكنا أكيد الكلام. أيوة سرفايفر جديد سرفايفرز هذولين. إلفز شكلهم إلفز هذولي. إلا إلفز إلا والله إلفز هذولي. هذولي إلفز.
I'm afraid there will be no quick death for you. No escape
فكنة هذا يده، هذا يد فكنة، يده هذا يد فكنة. شفتم؟ فكنا أعطاك بعد السرفايفل ينزل 3 جوع.
Hello friends, I'm Mathieu Côté, Head of Partnerships for Behavior Digital, and I'm extremely happy to be joined here today by Sean from our friends at Wizard of the Coast, who is going to be with me talking about what we just saw. Hi Sean.
Hey Matthew, great to see you.
Pleasure. We just saw the trailer here. I still have goosebumps. This is so amazing. Like I was saying earlier, I have inner child in me that's thrilled right now. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I'm 10 years old, and it's an absolute dream come true. So thank you so much for being a part of that.
Of course, yeah, my pleasure. I 10-year-old Sean wakes up every day realizing that he works at Wizards of the Coast, dream job. So we're super aligned on that.
So Dungeons and Dragons is probably one of the biggest gateways that people have had to how to craft stories, how to design games, how to create experiences for other people. We've seen it, of course, within the dev team. There's so many people who've got their first taste of designing games through Dungeons and Dragons. Have you seen this to be true with other developers that you've worked with?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I always say it's the easiest thing about my job is I never have to teach people what D&D is or what the brand is about, because when I'm working with the developer, I guarantee you the person that I'm talking to has played and everybody on their team has played, or at the very least is like very aware of what the game is and what it entails. It makes my job very, very easy. I always joke around, D&D is kind of this like the building block or like the connective tissue between game designers. You can be at a gaming convention and you're talking to other developers. If you have nothing else in common,
هذا الحدث بادي.
It's true. It's kind of a common language. There's so many common references there.
فكنا هذا من لعبة Dungeons and Dragons.
Like I said, it's a dream come true. I still play Dungeons and Dragons every week with my group of friends. I'm the forever DM in that group, and I know that there are a couple of other people on my team who are absolutely thrilled to be a part of this. What made it sense for Wizard of the Coast to enter into this collaboration?
That's a great question. I think that exploring horror is always something that's really, really interested us. Dungeons and Dragons has dipped its toes in horror before. We've got modules like Curse of Strahd. We've got a lot of different horror elements we've brought together in some of our monsters. Obviously, characters like Vecna have been super horror driven. So when the idea popped up on our radar, hey, what do you think about working together with Behavior on a Dead by Daylight module? Like the light turned on instantly. I don't think anybody was there were no question marks. It was mostly just exclamation points. It's like, how do we do this the best, right? Like, let's find the coolest character. Let's find the coolest setting. Let's really make this a true sort of celebration of D&D inside of Dead by Daylight and make it a way that feels super native to that game.
Yeah. And you mentioned horror. I mean, I know a lot of people will probably think that their first thought when they think of Dungeons and Dragons is not necessarily horror, but there is quite a lot of potential for horror in there. I mean, it is a very flexible medium to tell stories, and horror stories are some of the stories that will provoke the most intense emotions and reactions in players. So for us, it made sense.
I'm also slightly in the forever Dungeon Master box that you are. I try to inject a little bit of horror into all the campaigns that I run. I think that it's just a great tool to use to tell stories. If your players never get scared, right, you're probably doing something a little bit wrong. And like you mentioned, Dungeons and Dragons is just a really flexible system for telling stories. At the end of the day, the players and the dungeon masters, you're not fighting each other. You're just there telling a collaborative story about what happens. And horror is just a great tool to include in that.
تقدر تقلب التليفون وتضبط الشاشة معك، فهمت؟ واضغط على زر إخفاء التعليقات، يمديك تخفي التعليقات لو تبي.
The tools are there if you want to do it, and I think some of the best storytellers out there definitely implement those tools.
Yeah, there are many examples out there. Now, why Vecna? I mean, we've seen it in the trailer. He is an absolutely terrifying presence. I think that whether you're a survivor or play with Vecna in that game, it's going to be a really intense experience.
القنوات الصغيرة ما يجونها متابعين. حلك الوحيد انك تبث بطريقة انك يوتيوب شورتس علشان ترفع عدد المشاهدات. هذه يعني مشكلتنا. لو عندنا لو قناتنا كبيرة ما في مشكلة، بثنا بث عادي.
Horror movie monster vibe to him. I mean, as a lich, he's always had the ability to. You can even kill him, and he just pops back up and will come back. It might not be tomorrow.
Yeah,
might be a couple of years in the future. But like Vecna's always going to come
back. من GTA مو موضوع
he has this real inevitability to it. And the thing about D&D is very quickly in a D&D setting, your party becomes a group of powerful adventurers, right? You're defeating all these other monsters that, you know, like dragons and stuff, and then Vecna shows up and you're like, oh, we need to run away. Vecna's here. Like he's such a scary, inevitable threat in the universe that even his earliest appearances were just items with his name on them, and everybody was wondering, oh, who's this guy Vecna that's got this eye and this hand, and it was just like whispers of this ancient evil that was so powerful you couldn't even print a stat block for him because he was just that strong.
Yeah, it's the terrifying presence that few talk about.
والله ما تدري شو والله هي مو على شكل كيلر، هي على قوته قوي ولا ضعيف.
It's true that it's got that absolute flavor, and he has been part of the Dungeons and Dragons universe for almost 50 years now, right? He was there at the very, very beginning, like you said, as whispers, as just a note in there. But he does have a stat block, and reading it is all. It's not ridiculous, but it's so much power in those pages. Like, you understand that he is, like you said, inevitable, but also he is able to scare a party of level 15 adventurers who are technically almost unstoppable by that point, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
It's always like, I've lost quite a few player characters myself to Vecna, and you know, Eve of Ruin, we've got the new book coming out, and as soon as you see Vecna, Eve of Ruin, I was like, oh, looks like I'm gonna lose a couple more.
Yeah. But that's part of the fun. That's writing stories with your friends. So before we let Yannick and Dave take us through the details of how we implemented Vecna with the gameplay mechanics of Dead by Daylight, how we presented him to our players, I'm wondering if you have a message for the hardcore D&D fans out there who may not be familiar with Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, I do actually, and it's try this chapter out, even if you don't play it. Like, watch somebody stream it, because this chapter, it's a love letter to Dungeons and Dragons from a very passionate, very talented team of developers of behavior. It was super obvious throughout the entire process that, you know, from the sound design work to the animations and the modeling, and like even like I can't stress enough how easy it made the approvals process on our end. That all of this work came in very obviously driven by an incredibly high level of passion for Dungeons and Dragons.
لا القحطاني هذا بس لعبة ديد باي دايلايت، إذا تعرف اللعبة نشوف الهرجة حقتهم مش بيحطون إضافات خرابيط كذا، فهمت؟
ton of love for D&D in this thing, and if you're a fan, there's something in here for you, I promise. Even if you don't think that horror is your thing, give it a try. It's super fun.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Seriously, it means the world to me. Now, I think we'll wrap this up for now. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today in our anniversary. And hopefully we'll see you in the fog.
اخلص انت وجهك اخلص، ورنا الجيم بلاي. انا ودي اشوف فيكنا. انا اتوقع ان حركات استعمل الوحش ابو عين، يمكن يطلع لك، يجيك من اماكن يغدر بك يمكن. خلينا نشوف ايش وضعه. نشوف الحين بيتكلمون عن الجيم بلاي حق الكيلر. فلنرى ما هي خصائص الكيلر القاتل. بيتكلمون
Hey, hi, I'm not Dave. You're not Yannick.
I'm not Yannick.
No, we're quickly interrupting our D&D segment. There's a lot more. Stay tuned. Dave will be right where I am in just a second to give you an update on cross progression. So this is a live show. We're having a live TV moment as we speak. So apologies, you might have noticed, even though I was dressed the same. Our segment with Derek that was just before was pre-recorded. And in fact, we played the wrong one. So we want to give you more details on cross-progression here. So that's what we're going to do. So take it away, Derek.
Yeah, so cross-progression is hands down one of the most requested features every single stream, every single post. You guys are wanting cross progression, and we're giving it to you later this summer. Players will need to own the base game on any platform that they're playing on and have a behavior account. I'm sure you heard me talking about cross progression with an account. You're like, what is she talking about? Yeah, so make sure you have that, and you'll be able to use cross progression later this summer. We do understand that the website is currently down because so many people are trying to get to the website and make their account, but we're working on it, and we'll have this to you shortly.
Yep, and just as a clarification, in case we have a few folks in chat that aren't aware, Dead by Daylight, this is
شغلوا تسجيل غلط اللي تو يوم جالس يتكلمون عن الكروس بروجريشن شغلوا تسجيل غلط شغلوا شيء ثاني غلط
experience if you've never played it. It's a different
beast يا رجال.
From the Dead by Daylight core, as we call it internally. Awesome. So along with the Twitch drops and a chance to get what's
قام يعيدون الكلام مرة ثانية لأنهم غلطوا وشغلوا كلام ثاني وكلام ثاني فيه غلطات.
Reason to crash our
جاب العيد أيوة.
So like we said, bear with us. The site will be brought back up and all this happen. Regarding cross progression, though, any exceptions about in how the system is going to work?
Well, while every platform will have cross progression, there will be a few exceptions to what can be shared between those platforms.
والحين قام يعيدون الكلام مرة ثانية لأنهم شغلوا شيء غلط.
FAQ coming very soon, so that you can go ahead and learn more about cross progression for Dead by Daylight.
Yep. And as mentioned, now we're going to pass it to Dave
for
some great deep details on our Dungeons and Dragons chapter.
الحين بيجيبون الكيلر. شفت اشكالهم خائسة. قادر انه خبل. عاد خل الكرنجة تفيده. يلا ورنا الكيلر ورنا.
Thank you Dork, Eric for this cross progression information just to prove that we are live. So we're super excited today to be able to talk about the Dungeon and Dragon chapter. I am Dave, creative director on Dead by Daylight, and I'm joined by my good friend Yannick.
Hello, Yannick Never, principal game designer on Dead by Daylight. Today I'll be talking about all the intricacy of the gameplay on this chapter. But first, a little mention. Dead by Daylight, 8 years, introducing Dungeon & Dragon. It's a big milestone for us, but we're not the only one hitting a special milestone.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that Dungeon & Dragon turns 50 this year. And we are super proud and happy to be part of the celebration. We just want to say that maybe when we turn 50, we do something else with you, Wizard of the Coast. Or maybe sooner.
Yeah, we'll probably be in retired home, but we'll be glad to join the party.
خلص يا رجال هرج الجانبي ما له داعي يخلص
Dungeon & Dragon in Dead by Daylight. I have to be honest here. The first time you told me about what's going to be coming next, I was surprised because I'm a big horror fan, but when you think about horror, Dungeon & Dragon is not the first thing that comes to mind. But thinking about it more, I realized, no, wait, there's a lot of horror in Dungeon & Dragon.
Sure.
And Ravenloft being my favorite module. So like you really specifically focus on certain element of the brand. So please tell us about those pillars.
Yeah, so when we start a chapter, we always have a sandbox created so that we stay, around some specific pillars, like you said. Of course, when we think Dungeons and Dragons, the first thing that comes to mind is a magical world, high fantasy, magical creatures, wizards, magic, all sort of things that don't necessarily fit exactly well into a horror setting. But because D&D is a world of imagination where we can create whatever we want, there's also a way to make it happen. So for us, the first pillar was to make sure that we had a good juxtaposition with fantasy, so fully embracing that type of content, but make it horrific as well. And like you've seen in the trailer, having a character like Vecna made perfectly sense for that horror setting. The second pillar is creative roleplay.
So in the image of Dungeon & Dragon,
we wanted to make sure that players had a lot of agency, a lot of choices. So that goes from an amount of spells you can choose from in the power, which we'll talk about later, or even customization. So a way you can kind of create your own character in some way. We just wanted to make sure that we had a lot of gameplay choices in the DBD trials. And the last pillar we worked with is chaos. So that's actually one of our main pillar in Dead by Daylight. But a lot of what happens in Dungeons and Dragons is based on randomness. You throw a dice, and with critical success, critical fails, and everything in between, you see the result and you adapt to it. So we wanted to recreate that feeling inside the Dead by Daylight trials as well.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is really about exploring a fantasy world, but also be thrilled about what's going to be the monster you're going to meet the next time you open a door.
So let's talk about that killer you'll meet the next time you open the door. So of course, Dungeons and Dragons has a lot of iconic monsters we could have chosen from, a lot of iconic villains as well. And with our friends at Wizard of the Coast, we've established that our next killer would be Vecna. Vecna is just a perfect fit for Dead by Daylight. He's a lich, so a powerful wizard that turn himself into undead to be able to continue his
Dungeons and Dragons لعبة تيبل توب لعبة كذا.
So he wanted to continue to do his stuff for as long as he could. Vecna also has
يعني يلعبون لعبة خلاص لعبة طاولة
every spell in the books. So that was very interesting for us to create an interesting power. Of course, we also have a survivor in the chapter. So the Bard. A very interesting class. There's many classes that we could have chosen from, but the Bard was really the one that fit the most into our horror setting. For example, when we think about a class like the Paladin, you think of the ability to turn the undead, magical sword, big plated armors, and all of this doesn't fit really well into the world of Dead by Daylight. The Bard, with abilities like bardic inspiration, the ability to sing, to play musical instrument, to know lore, and even to insult the villain, is just so on brand that it was a perfect fit. So that's why we chose the Bard. As you've seen in the image and the trailer, we're doing something special with the Survivor. It's akin to what we've done with Legion. So through the cosmetic customization, you'll be able to choose between two specific characters inside the same
شخصية واحدة تخليها ذكر ولا أنثى ولا تغير شكلها يعني. حلوة الفكرة.
Elf or Bearmar,
لا ما لعبت ستيلر بليد ما عندي بلاي ستيشن ما لعبتها.
It's interesting, but
بس هذا عزو زين اتذكر كاخر مرة من جيته.
لا سهلة. Friends group. The Bard was not really a class that people tend to play.
True.
Compared especially to other class that you had. But throughout times, like there's been many change and iteration on the class, and has now become like such popular class to play. Really fun now, definitely, and has become kind of an emblem to Dungeons and Dragons as much as.
يا أخي أخلص حط الجيم بلاي ورنا قاعد يهرج هو أخوي هذا أخلص.
And we've also seen a lot of Bard love into
تمام عن شخصية البارد كلاس هذا عرفنا خلاص شكرا. ورنا الجيم بلاي لا تورين لا تتكلم.
Do we have a new map?
Absolutely.
في ماب جديد.
We're super proud to have a full chapter for the anniversary, and shocking no one. The map is a dungeon. Absolutely. So in the Borgo realm, we have a new map with a new building. So there is a top part set in the marvelous new lighting of the Borgo realm, and you can find this isolated tower in the middle. You can go inside and go into an extensive dungeon underground packed with surprises and Easter egg related to Dungeons and Dragons. The goal with this map is that we've imagined that Vecna, knowing about different realms and plane, now trapped into the realm of the entity, would find a place to make his own, his lair, and so that he can study where he is, the world, the entity, and potentially find a way to escape, maybe not. We are also introducing a new gameplay mechanic in this map called Passage. So these are basically doors, magical doors, which you can use to teleport from one area of the map to the next. And we think it's going to add a new interesting spice to chases.
حلو انك تستعمل teleportation وانت
the Easter egg. It's super fun. Like if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, just exploring, you're gonna be thrilled to see all the small and the big one. On the gameplay side now for Vecna, so the way we tackle or approach the killer this time, interestingly, it comes from a game, so he has game mechanic that are pre-existent. So we look at all like stats block and try to come up with like the best spell that could be translated into game mechanic for us, and also make sure that these will be like thrilling and exciting to use. But then, so definitely he's a spellcaster, a very powerful one. So the goal was to make him feel as such in our game. But like I was saying, magic, it's something that we have never really tackled, not that way before. Something we try to stay away from. Like our powers are really visceral or like grounded as much as possible. It's something that do you want to talk about a bit? Magic?
Yes, please. I hope some of our team colleagues are laughing right now. I kind of have a bad rep internally about magic. It's almost a taboo word that we can't use. But now making a D&D chapter, for sure we had to embrace magic. And of course there is a space for magic in our games, but it has to be taken with the right tone. So in this case, we're talking necromancy, blood magic, magic of the dead. And there's a touch of realism and visceralness that we wanted to add to magic, versus something more flashy like a magic projectile or a fireball, for example. There's also something quite interesting out of Dungeons and Dragons, and these are the utility spells. They're spells that are not used to kill or damage, but they're used in very creative ways. And we wanted to highlight that with the Lich, with Vecna. So that was our approach. Now, do you want to talk to us about the spell that we actually chosen?
Sure. So you have access to 4 different types of spells. Pretty much any time they have their own individual cooldown. But so the first one is called Fly, a very popular, well-known Dungeons and Dragons spell in our game. It lifts up the killer, and you're pushed forward, obviously faster. So it's really like the traversal aspect of the power. It lasts for a short amount of time, and it's going to also end if you vault a pallet or a vault location. And this is really useful to get closer to Survivor and get to the next gen as soon as possible. The next one is called Flight of the Dam, which is, it's not really a Dungeons and Dragons spell. It's more connected to Vecna. It's an actually what it does is that it cast 5 different projectiles, and then it shoots them in a cone radius effect in front of him. These projectiles pass through obstacles. They don't go very far, but if they hit the survivor, they get damage instantly. It might sound very powerful and easy to use, but it's not the case. Survivor has a lot of counter, but the spell can also be used to zone in this aspect, so you can also go for the basic M1 attack during that time. The third spell is called Dispelling Sphere, which is actually, it's a combination of different existing Dungeons and Dragons spell. We just felt it was more compelling to combine them into one spell. So what it does, you cast a large sphere in front of you, and that sphere moves slowly throughout the level. Survivors do not see that sphere, and if they get in contact with that sphere, they get revealed for a few seconds by Killer Instinct, and also have their magic items disabled for a minute. And the last but not least spell is Mage Hand, very well known Dungeons and Dragons spell. What it does in Dead by Daylight, you, as the killer, you can tag up a nearby pallet. And if the pallet is upward, it blocks the pallet for a few seconds, cannot be interacted by Survivor. And if it's downward, it's lifted up for you so you can fully pass without any obstacles. So the idea with this killer, he has a lot of tools and tricks in his bag, and it's really about managing all the force spells, the cooldown, and try to activate them at the right moment. So that's really how you're going to improve as a killer, is learning how to use them at the right time and be efficient with them.
So lots of strategic and tactical choices here.
Correct.
So you've mentioned very quickly during the Dispel Sphere, the magical item.
Did I? Yeah.
What's that?
Okay. So this is the new toy for Survivor. It's it's called magic items, but keep in mind it's not an actual items that they use. So this time, if you face Vecna, you're gonna have a survivor gonna have 7 different chests that's gonna spawn throughout the level. Survivor go interact with those chests, and while during the opening of the chest, there's gonna be a D20 dice roll. Yes, it's Dungeons and Dragon. We couldn't do without the dice roll. So this dice roll will determine the content of the chest. So if survivor roll from 2 to 4, they get a basic Dead by Daylight brown item.
يعني يعطيك عشوائيات كذا بالنرد. حلو يعني.
I don't know. But the fun part is when you roll from 5 to 19, that's when you get the magic items. And the way it works is that each survivor has an equipment slot, 2 equipment slots. They have the bracers and the boots. So there's 2 types of magic items, and each magic item is going to be randomly linked the first time you open the chest to one of the 4 Vecna spells. And so once they are equipped, each time the killer will cast the spell that is linked to one of your magic item, you're going to gain a passive bonus to help out, avoid the spell or help you out against Vecna in general. So to be more precise, so if you have bracers against the fly spell,
تعويذات يعني حسب الصندوق على كل صندوق تعويذة
تقدر تسوي لها counter يعني. If you have a boots, for example, against the Flight of the Damned, you see the aura of the projectile, very useful because the projectile goes through collision, and the best way to use that spell is through walls. If you have magic items against the Dispelling Sphere, survivors see the sphere, so they can juke and go around the sphere as much as they can. And if you have a counter against
في بيلد الفكنة بيجي بطل فيه بيرك يمديك تشوف إذا قرب ولا من الصناديق. هذا راح يفيدك مرة بفكنة مرة بيفيدك. بيلد حلو. راح يصير البيلد رهيب.
So it's really important to search those chests.
Yeah, correct, because
ترى في بيركات قوية للصناديق. حلو الفكرة. تقدر تسوي لي كاونتر للسرفايفرز. والله بيجيهم استقعاد. تقدر تستقعد لهم.
It's made or balanced to face survivor who have them equipped. So if you don't get those, definitely the killer might feel a bit oppressive. So it's really up to survivor to get to those chests and equip them as soon as possible.
Right. And just to be clear, you can also equip a normal item with that. So you can have your flashlight, bracer, and boots.
Correct. It's a very different slot.
So everybody heard you talk about a lot of numbers here on the dice, but you've not mentioned the critical fail, 1, and critical success on the 20. For people that don't play D&D, these are like events, the best event that can happen in Dungeons & Dragons when you get that critical fail or that critical success. So what happens in Dead by Daylight when that happens?
Yes, so we have critical roll in the game. If you roll a 1, you get, a big nothing. Although I've heard sometimes people get a green key. I guess that's
better, yeah.
But I know what you get if you roll a 20. So anyone who's familiar with Vecna in the lore of Dungeons & Dragons, there are 2 very specific artifacts that exist that is called the Eye of Vecna and the Hand of Vecna, and we introduce them in our game. So you roll a 20, you get one of the 2. You never know. But these works more like a normal item, so you have to pick them up and use them once. It's called attune, so you merge with the items, and then you unlock a very powerful ability up to like perk level. Yes, it's very strong. I guess you want to know.
But please do say.
Okay, sure. So if you attune with the Eye of Vecna, they use with lockers. So if you fast exit a locker, you're going to be unseen, unheard by the killer for 15 seconds. And on top of that, you gain a haste boost effect. And if you attune with the Hand of Vecna, you fast enter a locker and you're going to be teleported further down further locker.
ولو معك اليد حقت فكنا بدك تسوي teleportation دخلت الخزنة.
I forgot the details because they might sound super strong said like that, but they come with a cost. So to use them, you have to be full health. And once you use them, you instantly lose a health state. And also at the end of the effect, you get revealed by counter instinct. So be very mindful the way you use them, because we've seen a lot of situations where it backfire at the survivor. And the killer has definitely a spell to help him out, get back.
اشرح لك يعني القدرات حقته.
It's very on brand.
بيفتحونه بعد البث أول ما يخلصون البث.
Thank you so much, Janik. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff coming with Vecna, and we had no time today to talk about anything more about the killer perks or the survivor, but I have to say very quickly that the survivor perk will allow you to create illusions, to perform on the loot. You can even perform with other survivors to do the full melody. There's also a dice roll mechanic for one of the perks. So if you want more information after the show, you can go on our website deadbydaylight.com and get
تروح لم البي سي تروح لم اللعبة تدخل إعدادات اللعبة.
Merci encore Janik for all the
تلقى مكتوب كذا على ملفات اللعبة تدخل في ستيم مكتوب لك بيتا اضغط على بيتا وفعلها. بركات السرفايفر حلوة يقول لك في شيء يعطيك يعني كذا يعني زي ما تقول يعني سراب شيء وهمي كذا حاجات زي كذا. يحط لك نسخ كذا يضحك يعني يضحك على الكيلر يلعب بمخه ما ادري على كلامه. ابيك جيمز ما ادري والله الصراحه لا انا اعرف بس في ستيم اتوقع بس في ستيم هي موجوده في ابيك جيمز.
You are a pretty frequent DM yourself, right?
Yes, I do DM on occasion. Forever player, as they said in the interview. Well, no, forever DM. Never a player. Please make me a player.
You must be so psyched.
So psyched. I'm so psyched. I'm so excited. I just cannot wait to see what we have in store and to go against Vecna.
Hopefully people have noticed your dice necklace.
My nice D4. I got okay. But yes, just like Dave said, don't forget to head over to deadbydaylight.com right after the show for the full breakdown on Vecna and all of his powers. You'll also be able to see the perks that we've got for him and our bard coming into the fog.
And also, don't forget to ask questions in the chat when you're not spamming nonsense garbage. Ask real questions and we'll answer them later in the Q&A. You don't need to say claim. Please stop saying claim. You're not claiming anything by saying claim. Stop.
But we appreciate your enthusiasm. But next we're going to be, I'm going to be joined by Dave Richard back on the couch for him to walk us through the ever-expanding world of Dead by Daylight.
يعني فكنا شكله حليل بس لازم اجرب عشان اتاكد. اخلصوا يلا ورونا الاشياء الزياده الباقيه.
Hey, I'm over here now. So I'm super excited for this part of the stream because not only do we get to talk about two upcoming projects within the world of Dead by Daylight, that being Supermassives, the casting of Frank Stone, and an unnamed multiplayer PvE game by Midwinter, but we get to do it all with Dave Richard. So, Dave, can you please tell me why we chose these games to be the right games for us to expand the world of Dead by Daylight?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff going into that choice for sure. So first of all, we are super happy and grateful to have a community already there playing Dead by Daylight. So of course we listen to what they want to see, what they want to play. So that comes into the recipe of the choice we're going to make. We also want to make sure that we will create something new to experience, something that's completely out of what we are used to in Dead by Daylight. So that comes into the genre we want to create. Also, we want to interest new players into the world of Dead by Daylight. Some people that never heard of Dead by Daylight, but also some viewers that are interested about the world of DBD, but that don't play DBD because maybe it's not their style of game. So we want also these players to be with us and experience the world of Dead by Daylight.
And just like you were saying, with people being interested in the world of Dead by Daylight, as the creative director, why do you think there's so much interest in the lore of a multiplayer game that's based in action?
Well, it's been very important for us since day one when we started working on this project. The story and the narrative around everything we create. We want to make sure that every little component in DBD has a story and a reason to live in the universe. We take great care into making that happen. So, there's a lot of mysteries within mysteries, a lot of layers to our narrative, which I think are super interesting and players want to know more. So these games will allow us to discover these elements that we've seeded in the past. Like every killer and every survivor
الالعاب حقتكم اللي ما لها موعد تكلمون عن العاب ولا قد جابوا لها يعني جيم بلاي ولا قد جابوا لها يعني موعد بس يهرجون.
Speaking of lore, I mean, this is something we want to expand on with the world of Dead by Daylight. So we're doing that in one of our upcoming games, The Casting of Frank Stone. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Right, I can tell you a little bit.
A little bit, يعني حبيبي ما راح تشوف اللعبة.
Of course, there's different type of stories in games, right? There's games that have a static narrative that you experience. That's great. There's also games that the narrative is made very organically by the players, like DBD is a good example of that. The Casting of Frank Stone is somewhere in between, right? It's a game where there is multiple narrative, and based on the player choice, different things will happen, and based on their choice, different endings and different branching in the story will happen. So the Casting of Frank Stone is very interesting for us because it brings the origin of a killer and potentially survivors, and the players are able to play that for the first time. Some things that we are used to see as a lore or a bio or a tome entry in DBD now will be playable. It's still in the entity's universe. It's still very much part of the world of DBD, but it's going to be out of the trials. So that's going to be an interesting take on our universe.
Okay, so we know that the Casting Frank Stone is still in that realm, but what about our other project, this unnamed multiplayer PvE game? Is that also going to be taking place in the entity's realm?
Absolutely. So it is in the world of DBD. It is in the entity. And one cool thing about the entity is that we know very little about exactly what it is, but we do know that it's a living universe. It is huge, and we can't really comprehend everything that's happening within it. So we know that DBD trials are a way for the entity to feed. It's a very kind of organic process. So we can imagine that there are other parts in the entity that serves other purposes. And that is exactly what we want to explore. So that allows us to create new narrative, new ways to experience a game, new gameplay opportunity, new set of rules. So these are things that we talked about in the past and that we always wanted to explore. So that's exactly what we want to do with this new Untitled game. So in a way, the world of DBD that we've created is like a book with infinite pages. We can add new stories to it forever, hopefully.
Just keep on reading.
Oh yeah.
خلاص عطنا موعد يا اخي لا تقعد تتفلسف عطنا موعد متى تنزل اللعبة.
Is there any gameplay that we'll be able to see?
That we'll be able to see. Well, yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave, for talking us through that.
ورنا شيء يا اخي يقدرون يعلنون عن العاب لا يورونك لا جيم بلاي ولا يورونك تريلر قصدي موعد الحين يورونك الجيم بلاي ورنا الجيم بلاي خلص علينا يا اخي. هذا اللعبة الثانية هذا البي في اي لعبتنا والله.
Hey everyone, I'm Audrey, lead producer at Midwinter Entertainment.
Last
year, we gave you a very small glimpse of a project we started working on set in the Dead by Daylight universe. I'm happy to say that we have more to share with you on this game codenamed Project T. Instead of showing you a close to final game with some polished gameplay, we wanted to let you in on the development process. Right now, Project T is a work in progress, more than a fully fledged game. Our goal is to craft an experience with all of you and create something that you would be eager to play. Let's hear more about Project T with our creative director.
Hey everyone. First I want to say what an honor it is to be working in the Dead by Daylight universe. We love DBD's multiplayer thrills, and its dark, mature setting brings just the right kind of tension and danger for a game like this. In Project T, you play as trespassers, rough and tumble characters who have been whisked away from their realities and trapped within the entity's realm. There, in a vast region called the Backwater, they discover they must work together if they're to have any chance of survival. And of course, they're not alone. The backwater is home to horrific monstrosities known as the Thrall. These terrors come in many forms and have different deadly abilities. Their origins and nature are unclear, but they certainly don't take kindly to trespassers within their domain. To achieve your objectives, you'll have to battle the Thrall with every weapon at your disposal.
The world of Project T is called the Backwater. It's a unique place, another twisted realm within the entity's grasp. You'll be eager to explore this familiar yet ominous world, and it'll definitely give you the creeps. To add even more tension to your experience, we're building the Backwater as an ever-changing landscape, which offers a lot of possibilities gameplay-wise. To navigate the Backwater, we're thinking of adding trucks in the game. Since it's a pretty big area, you would need a way to go from one point to another while escaping the hordes of Troll. But there could be other uses for the truck. That's something we're thinking about. And we'd love to see what kind of ideas you might have. As DBD fans, we're having a lot of fun creating this new experience as part of the Dead by Daylight universe. DBD is all about horror, and we want to make sure we're crafting something that horror fans will appreciate, from the different biomes of the Backwater to the look of the Thrall.
Project T is still in early development, but that doesn't mean you'll have to wait another year to get more news. We're looking to get your opinions and share information, so we're creating a platform called the Insider Program. This is a place where all the players excited about this new take on the DBD universe can gather and be active participants in the development of the project. As an insider, you'll not only get exclusive information, but also in-game rewards and even the chance to join our closed playtests and give us your feedback. Join us to help shape an experience you'd like to play and make Project T the best that it can be. See you soon.
جماعة أعطاها اسم إلى الآن يلا. طول على لعبتهم ذي. أنا أكثر شيء أكرهه يجوك شركات يعلنون عن لعبة وتوهم بادين فيها، يا أخي لا تعلن إذا قربت تخلص اللعبة. هذه اللعبة الثانية هذه كاستنج أوف مدري شو اسمه فرانكستون مدري إيش فرانك مدري إيش اسمه. هذه لعبة نفس داينج لايت زي هاوس اوف اشز مان اوف مدان نفس الألعاب.
Why do you hate Cedar Hill so much? It used to be like town mascot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present The Mill.
Spend enough time in my line of work, you realize every place has got its demons.
Think that belongs to the boy you're looking for?
You can't shoot a movie in here. This is a condemned steel mill, Mr. Rivera. I suggest you immediately vacate the premises. And you do not, under any circumstances, set 1 foot back here in the Cedar Steel Mill. Ever.
Such a joy to see young people so passionate about the arts.
Everything's all right. Either of you heard of Murder Mill?
No! No!
There was a whole string of disappearances. Kidnappings, really. Murders. So what was this guy's name?
Oh, you are.
I don't think the police ever found this place.
Fuck! Whoever did this might still be here. We can't stay, okay? We gotta go.
And cut!
طبعا ما في موعد.
When you make dangerous cinnamon, you walk a dangerous line.
موعد. بس كاتبين coming يعني بيجي تنزل السنة هذه بس ما لها موعد.
Oh my god, that was such a cool trailer.
Right? Some chills there.
Did I see a hunting mask?
Bringing,
oh my god.
Bringing it. Murder Mill? That seems familiar. Fans might know that one. Super cool. It's so cool to see the way that the DBD universe is expanding.
Oh yeah.
I want to mention Project T. You saw a mention of the Insider Program, so that's our team is there waiting for you on Discord. So you can join the Insider Program to get up-to-date information on Project T and get involved in it and be part of the game's development. It's really the idea there is we're making the game with the community. So get in on the ground floor now.
Yes. With Project T, like Eric said, we are taking this idea to a whole new level with making the game with you instead of just making it by ourselves. So if you love Dead by Daylight and you want to help with this new session-based multiplayer PvE game and bring it to life, sign up for the Insider program so that you can be in the know and get next steps. You also want to make sure you wishlist it on Steam because that really helps us.
Yes. And so Project T is quite a ways off because, like I said, we actually want to make it with our players. But the casting of Frank Stone is right on the horizon. So Supermassive, as hopefully folks know in the chat, they're just an amazing developer of single-player narrative horror games. And now we're bringing Dead by Daylight into that genre. And it's just so cool to finally be there. And it looks super terrifying. It looks super, super crisp and polished and awesome. I can't wait. So as you mentioned, wish lists do help a lot. So if you would do us a kindness, kindly give us a wish list. We would greatly appreciate it.
Yes, and speaking of Dead by Daylight, the PTB, I know a lot of you are itching to get into that. That will be at 1 p.m. as a reminder today instead of 12 p.m. So be ready to download that so you can go ahead and hop in and test out the new chapter.
I can't wait to see people's reactions to all the things that are
in this chapter. Yeah. I cannot wait, especially for the locker one. I'm so excited for that one. But as we said, this is, we're getting pretty close to our live segment where it's going to be the live Q&A. So we'll have Justin, Justin from Eric's Justin, come out to talk about this year's Twisted Masquerade in-game anniversary event.
يلا anniversary يلا الايفنت حق الأقنعة. ايوه ملابس كولابوريشن خلينا نشوف ايش بيحطون تعاون اخر مره حطوا اتاك اون تايتن.
Back again. This time I'm joined by Justin Banks, our senior product manager. Justin, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back.
Yes, welcome back to the anniversary show. And what would an anniversary be without the Twisted Masquerade, right? So the Twisted Masquerade is back. It happens every year during our anniversary in-game, and Justin's here to talk about it. So what have you cooked up this year?
So this year, we got some amazing stuff. Honestly, I think it's our best anniversary event yet. But before we get to it, we have what we call Before the Masquerade. So that is going to be something that actually starts right after this stream. So for everyone who's watching, once this is over, go play. And we've got lots of really cool stuff as a big thank you to all of the players. It's really stuff from all of DBD's history, and it includes a lot of presents.
I love presents. I know you love presents.
بيعطونك هدايا إذا دخلت اللعبة.
I think details. So the details about said presents. We've got lots of login rewards, so lots of currencies for players to earn just by logging in whichever day throughout all of this. We've also got 2 recolored outfits, one for Meg and one for the Huntress, that players can earn through each week. So each week you'll be able to earn a different piece of this. So if you log in just once each of these initial 3 weeks, you'll get the full outfits, which I think is a really cool way to get your hands on some cool outfits. Now, each of these initial 3 weeks is going to focus on a different period of DBD's history, so a different collection of years. What that means is that we're going to have map boosts and outfit sales of character outfits that were released during those years. So we really want to take you through this history with us. We want to celebrate the history of DBD.
That's really cool.
Then the cool stuff that I think everyone's really going to dig is we have some currency boosts, a different one for each week during Before the Masquerade. So for the first week, we have a blood feast. So 3 times the blood points. During week 2, we are going to have 3 times the rift fragments. So if you want to progress towards the rift, this is a very good chance to do it. Then during week 3, we've got 3 times the XP. So again, if you want to progress to the rift, this is also good, but this is a really good chance to earn some iridescent shards.
Damn. And then after D&D releases, the last week and a half we'll be doing double XP and double blood points, right?
Oh, we're doubling down, yeah.
So everyone can play the new chapter. They can get hyped for the Masquerade. They can nab some of the older anniversary charms as well. Is that true?
Exactly. So we want to give people a chance who haven't earned them during previous years, to celebrate the build-up to the event itself by earning, like some really cool Masquerade crows or things like that.
Awesome. Okay, so what about the event itself?
So the event itself, now that we've tackled Before the Masquerade, the big new thing that is coming for this year's Twisted Masquerade is the reveal of the host of the Masquerade, Trix herself. So players might have seen her hinted at during previous anniversary events or during in outfit descriptions referenced as the Mad Designer or Zizzletrix. So she's finally making her appearance. And throughout all of the event, we want to make it very clear, like, this is her party. She's everywhere. She's the entity's biggest fan, celebrating, holding this party in its honor. And she's not a playable character, so we want to make that very clear. She is there pushing everybody to engage and celebrate.
I love that. So does this mean we're going to see a lot more of her in the Twisted Masquerade?
Absolutely. So we have a lot of the UI that is themed. You might have seen some last year, so we've done a lot of updating for that. We've got Father Campbell's Chapel coming back with the whole party taking place inside. Some updated content in there to show that the party is progressing or dying slightly. You might find some corpses. Then, in addition to all that stuff really permeating the game, we've got the lobby, the loading screens. She's going to appear in trials. You will hear her laughing at you or cheering you on around the exit gates. There's really voice lines that's going to appear everywhere, really accentuating the gameplay. It's going to be amazing. Like we loved hearing all of the voice lines that we have had recorded for this. With all that stuff, like we've got a lot of really cool gameplay that I'm going to talk about in just a second. But one thing I wanted to mention is that all of our event gameplay now is going to take place within a separate event queue. So if you want some of the normal DBD, like in the core mode, you can have that. But if you want the event stuff, go over to the really cool event queue and take part of Trix's, Twisted Masquerade. And I have to say as well, if you go to the core mode, it's still going to have a lot of the decorations. So you get the vibe with the core experience.
And that's a really good quality of life improvement over last year, right? Like giving players that option to choose, if they want to just do classic Dead by Daylight, they can with some extra flair on it, or they can choose the event queue. That's a nice improvement. So you mentioned it. So what are some of the gameplay changes that are coming with Trix?
So Trix is bringing what we call her bag of tricks to the party. She wants to spice things up. She wants everyone to have a lot of fun. So what we've got is that as a match progresses, one of a series of abilities, one of the tricks, is going to be played on our players. And these are going to be things like giving everybody haste, giving people undetectable, spawning anniversary special chests or totems, some really cool stuff that's going to spice it up. And this is going to happen whenever 2 points are accumulated during a match. So at first I'd say one tricks actually takes place at the match start. Following that, whenever 2 points are accumulated from doing a gen, first hook, things like that, which each gives 1 point, that is then going to trigger another tricks to maximum of 5 during a match. So we want to really keep things interesting. And when a tricks is actually activated, you're going to see Trix herself appear alongside or take the spot of one of the dancing marionettes. She's going to even deliver a line that hints at what has been played. So if you're not paying attention, she's going to give you this really cool audio cue.
That's awesome. And so in addition to all of that, I think we're also doing some sort of update for the invitation mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. So the invitations last year, we had players run around, gather those, and you could either spend it to use an ability while inside a chase, or escape with it to help you earn a mask. This year, there's no need to escape with it to earn a mask. That's a different thing. And we've even added outside of chase abilities to the invitation. So if you're someone who doesn't necessarily want to always be chased by a killer or wants to have a more diverse use for it, we've added that. So survivors can now go into quiet mode, so making a lot less noise, and can even do things like quickly enter a locker without alerting the killer. It's super useful to get out of that chase right away.
That's fantastic.
Or if they're nearby and you don't want to alert them. For killers, they can now use an invitation to immediately send a downed survivor to a nearby hook. And as I can say from playtests, it's really fun.
I think the community is going to love that. Can't wait for them to play, but also I think there's challenges we've added so you can earn masks, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this year, earning all of the masks is going to be related to engaging with event challenges and earning event currency. So all of them are going to be earned like this. That's going to be how you earn most of the rewards. And past masks and outfits that were earnable or in the store last year are also coming back. So if someone was not able to get those during previous years, those are all now going to be available inside the store for the duration of the event. And I have to say that we have also a licensed guest showing a mask this year, a Mr. Detective Tap.
Amazing. That's so cool.
Look at those masks. Those are fantastic.
There they are. Heck yes. Fantastic. So it wouldn't be a party without lots of rewards. What can you tell us about the event tome?
So we've got a few staples that are coming back that we've done and seen huge success with in the past for the event tome. One is the community challenges. So we know people love to play together towards earning things, so we've got a lot of those. So if people engage with the event, work towards those targets, hit their own milestones, I think they're going to earn some really pretty cool stuff. Also in the event tome is some really interesting lore about the observer discovering Trix's world. So if you want to know a little bit more about her, play those challenges, earn that lore. Then we've got some really cool stuff. I have to say the Twisted Masquerade is one of our favorite
عادهم كذا ساعتين على 10 دقائق.
As soon as the art team's
على
concepts
شيء يعني
hit
مهم.
the table,
أغلبية الكلام فاضي.
monitor screen these days, we're like enamored with them. Like we love working on this collection. So this year we've got 2 new 100% earnable outfits that you can earn through the event. We have one for Bill Overbeck, another licensed guest making his appearance in the Masquerade, and one for the Unknown.
Bill
maybe trying to blend in a little bit at the party.
Successfully.
In addition to all that really cool stuff, we've got some Trix-themed charms and player cards that people can earn. Now, obviously with Tap's mask making an appearance as a reward, there's someone who accompanies him. So if people check out the in-game store during the Twisted Masquerade, they'll be able to find a really cool event-themed outfit for the pig.
Oh, the pig.
Huge fans of this. I mean, it's
got
so many touches from the Saw franchise in there. I think it's amazing.
Pig fans were on the edge of their seats hoping you'd say
that.
Amazing. So we've covered a lot. Are there any last presents for the players that we've mentioned?
So there's a lot already. We got more.
So
same as previous years, we're giving out lots of daily rewards to players. So there's going to be lots of currencies.
لا هو طبعا البي تي بي نتكلم عن الكيلر وما الكيلرات. الكيلر والهذا الاشياء المهمة.
Login calendar throughout the entire event. People are going to be earning stuff no matter what they do. And for the first time, that no matter when the player logs in, we're going to give them enough event currency to get a single reward from the event.
Nice.
So as soon as you log in, we want to get you started and start enjoying the party.
I love that. Players are going to love that. Thank you, Justin, for your time and all that detail. So much detail. I hope people are psyched. Just as a note, the event in-game starts June 13th.
Event يبدأ يوم 13 جون.
Before the Masquerade event actually starts now. Right after this show
today.
And there is one last thing that we have not mentioned. It's all part of this wrapper of celebration, and it actually ties back to Dungeons & Dragons.
Oh, does it?
Yes. So very, very excited to say that we will be putting some Dungeons & Dragons Dead by Daylight dice, that's a lot of Ds.
A lot.
Up for sale in the merch store. You can pre-order it right now. It's not available. You can't get it right away, but you can get your pre-order in right away. And in fact, if you do the pre-order in the next 48 hours, you get a discount. Super psyched about this. There's tons of Dungeons & Dragons fans within the office. I'm sure there are in the community as well. So why not put them together with a cool new set of dice? And that is all we have. Unfortunately, Justin, you're done. Thank you for your time.
I was honestly always happy to be here.
So we're going to toss it now to Dork for our live Q&A, and we'll bring it home. Take it away, Dork.
All right, well, I've been like teleporting all around today. Now I'm over here. So we've covered so much content today. We've been talking about gameplay updates to Dead by Daylight, the 2v8 mode, the new titles, the Dungeons & Dragons chapter, and obviously with all of this content comes loads of questions, which we will be taking the time to answer for you. I say we because it's me, Dave Rashad, and Justin Brown. So let's go ahead and get started. So for Dave, question 1. In the Dungeons & Dragons segment, you mentioned 2 bards and 1. What does that mean? Are we getting 2 unique survivors?
No. So there is 1 survivor, same perks, but there is a different customization system around this character. So it's similar to what we've done with the Legion. So instead of having like normal head, torso, legs parts. For the bard, we have head and torso in one piece, the legs in another piece, and the accessories. And so changing the head torso piece, you can modify which character you want to be.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so question 2, how big of an impact will the Project T Insider program actually have on the finished game? I'll actually go ahead and take this one. We really want this project to meet player expectations at launch, so we want to make an open dev route, and this will allow us to proactively check in with you, our community, and fine-tune the game as we go. We'll be actioning insider feedback the whole time we're building the game, as your input and your insight will be highly considered throughout the entire process. So thank you. Question 3 for Dave. Will we see any existing Dead by Daylight characters in the casting of Frank?
عليكم السلام أهلا وسهلا بالأخ
Well, I don't want to spoil anything. I can say that the game features a new casting character. They're
الأشياء المهمة الصراحة غالبيتها سواليف.
But
جابوا الكلر جديد. بيحطون 2 كيلرز ضد 8 سرفايفرز. وشو بعد؟
Okay, thank you. Now you got a little treat.
جابوا لعبتين من ألعابهم.
Question 4
جابوا تريلرز إعلانات.
In 2v8, you said that there will be classes for survivors,
بس هذا اللي
but not
أتذكر الأشياء
exactly for
المهمة.
killers. What does this mean, and will more
الباقي
killers be
سواليف
added
الباقي
in the
أشياء
future?
تافهة.
All right, I'll start with the easy one. Yes, of course, there will be new killers added. Each iteration we do after this first one, we strive to add a few more killers as we move forward. As far as classes go, it's something that we're still really waiting for. There's a possibility we do something like a class system, but we're going to wait until we get this iteration into your hands and work with your feedback and see where we take this mode.
All right, thank you, Justin. Question 5. What is the difference between a game mode and a modifier for Justin?
Okay, it's just like what Matt said. A modifier is really something that takes a little piece of a standard trial and sort of adjusts it, like a darkness effect, maybe changing how fast or how many generators there are to do, or random perks. A mode is something that's going to fundamentally change the way the game's played, something really big and all-encompassing, something like 2v8.
All right, thank you. Again, Justin, I got a question for you. Question 6. Can I duo killer with my friends in 2v8?
Absolutely. You can queue up with your friend. You can get on Discord and talk to them and play killer together.
Okay, so I'm super excited for that. That's going to be amazing.
Go on Discord apply with your friend. طيب افتح حط جيم شات يا وصف. حط فويس شات في اللعبة عشان الناس يتكلمون بدل ما يروح ديسكورد.
No, the easy answer is no. You won't be able to play 2 of the same. You'll be able to mix and match between the 5, but 2 of the same killer will not be available.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine hearing both chainsaws revving? Like, oh god, overload. All right. Question 8. I didn't get my blood points from grade reset yesterday. Will I get them back? I'll go ahead and answer this one. Yes, we're working on refunding the missing blood points to players, and you should receive them within the next few days. Really sorry about that. Question 9. Can achievements and trophies be earned in the 2v8 mode when it releases, Justin?
The simple answer is yes. There are no specific 2v8 achievements or trophies, but if you're making progress towards one that already exists, like how many generators you have to repair, progress is still made towards those trophies.
All right, thank you. Question 10. Are there plans to keep 2v8 permanent after some iterations, Justin?
So this is something we're still working out. But I can tell you for sure in year 9, it will not be permanent at any point. It's going to be an ongoing discussion. It's going to depend sort of the engagement level, the feedback we get from you, and when we feel the mode is fully ready before we continue those conversations.
Mm-hmm. So when the mode is active, make sure you are playing it. Okay, do this for us. So other than that, what is What the Fog couch co-op or online co-op only? I'll answer this one as well. What the Fog is online co-op only, available as soon as we find a fix for the website. Really sorry about that, but thank you so much for trying to claim the game right now. All right, question 12 for you, Dave. Is Matt Mercer voicing Vecna?
Good catch. He is. We're super excited to have Matt Mercer bring Vecna to life.
Oh, Matt, هذا أظن المثل مكري.
It's awesome, especially having one of the kings of Dungeons and Dragons coming and voicing Vecna. What a treat.
Absolutely.
But we don't have any other questions. Thank you all so much for submitting your questions, no matter where you are watching from. And thank you so much, Dave and Justin. Regarding cross progression, just going to fill this in really quickly. We also want to reiterate that we can't share specific plans just yet, as we are still finalizing the last details, but rest assured that as soon as we are clear to do so, we will, and we plan to also push out a public FAQ. So once the FAQ is posted, we'll announce it across all of our channels for your full awareness. Once again, a big thanks to everyone who submitted questions, and we hope these answers were helpful, and we'll be talking more about this stuff in the next coming months. As a last gift for our players, if you're already signed up for the Dead by Daylight newsletter, you'll receive 250k blood points. And if you are not, you can still register until May 15th to get that sweet, sweet reward. And another big thanks once again to Justin and Dave for sticking around to answer all of these amazing questions. And since this is almost the end of our show, we don't want to forget that the PTB goes live in 22 minutes. So now we're going to have Eric and Matt here on the couch one more time to wrap up the show with one final surprise.
مرسى لا غير ضيعت أنا. خلص الحدث حقه تعبان. بس كذا حدثكم النايم صراحة يعني ما جابوا ملابس يعني كولابريشن. أنا ما خلص باقي ما أتكلم عن كولابريشن.
This is the end. We've made it to the end of the show. It's been a great show. It's been a long show.
حدثهم تعبان الصراحة.
Thank you for sticking with us. We had so much to tell you about.
قبل صح تعبان. لا الكلر زين. بس.
But thank you so much.
أحس لو جابوا الكلر بس
أفضل. Here to join me on the couch over there, Mr. Matt Cote. Matt, welcome.
Thank you so very much.
Well, nice of you to make it at the end.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I
eventually got here.
Yeah. Well, I was a little late. Had some surprises to work on. It's always something.
That's true. But I think all the surprises are wrapped up for now. Thank you again. Hopefully you'll join us on one of our upcoming streams. We're going to keep these rolling. Maybe you'll join us on one of our upcoming streams.
I'd be delighted.
Be fantastic. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful... Yes?
I just want to say before we leave, so the people who have been with us until the very, very end, we have one last surprise for you. We like to close the show with a surprise. It's a bit of a tradition nowadays. So this summer, we are going to be welcoming yet another legendary set of characters into the fog.
Castlevania مصاص الدماء اللي تسرب.
Featuring over...
تسربت
Featured in over 30 games, an animated series, and Castlevania,
Dracula.
We hope you are as excited as we are to welcome into the fog this classic franchise.
كاسلفينيا شوف كاسلفينيا تسربت من زمان. ها كاسلفينيا شفتم القلعة من زمان متسربة. ذاك كب عشام فضحهم. مصاص الدماء في كاسلفينيا هو اللي بينزل. شفنا مصاص الدماء شفتم. هذا كاسلفينيا شفتم. كاسلفينيا واو ما كنا نعرف انها بتنزل. الله ما حد كان يعرف ان مصاص الدماء هو الشخصية. فضحهم ذاك الرجال فضح 5 DLCات. علم الناس ان فيه تشاكي وفيه آلان ويك وفيه مين بعد الانون وفيه هذا فيكنا وفيه المصاص الدماء دراكولا. هذا قال لك فضحهم كله قال الشخصيات كلها. يعني حدث تعبان. الحدث تعبان يعني احس الحركة يعني بايخة بس عاد شو نسوي يعني ما في شيء يعني يصدمك يعني لانك عارف الDLCات وش التسريب. اذا جاك واحد سربها كلها عاد مهزلة. نشر غسيل والله نشر غسيلهم غسيل جيرانهم يا رجال. تخيل فضحهم 5 DLCات مدري 4 DLCات قالها ورا بعض قال ترى قال كذا قال وشو قال لك اول شيء قال لك تشاكي آلان ويك ثم ذا أنون ثم فيكنا ثم كاسلفينيا دراكولا مصاص دماء. شفت كم DLC كذا شوف كم DLC فضحها كذا خربها. يعني ما في اي شيء يعني يحمسك في الDLCات ال6 اللي راحت مدري ال5 لانها كلبوها انت عارف مين راح يحطون خلاص يعني معروفين. بلاها بس عاد شو نسوي. الله عاد الغباء الزائد. شكلهم زعلوه والله ما تدري كيف جاب الخبر ما تدري هو كيف يعني سرب بس شكله يعني عرف واحد وشكله يعرف واحد في الاستديو وكب العشاء قال يا رجال يلا فضحهم يلا 5 DLCات كب عشاهم كلها يلا قلها عاد بكذا عاد ننهي البث. انا بعدين بقى اذا فضيت اذا لقيت وقت بعدين اجرب هذا فيكنا اشوف ايش وضعه. وللناس الجديده شباب ترى احنا عندنا محتويات كثيره، يعني احنا مو بس نبث او نلعب بس ديد باي دايلايت، لا يعني نجيب اخبار العاب، اخبار الانمي، كوميكس، مصارعه، ام ام اي، يعني اخبار منوعه، افلام، مراجعات، يعني قناه فيها اشياء كثيره. اللي حاب يعني ياخذ لفه يشوف يعطينا رايه. عاد كذا عاد شكلنا راح نوقف. اهلا بالاخ اسامه، جيت متاخر يا الاستاذ اسامه، لكن راح نطلع من البث، راح نوقف البث لان انتهت يعني انتهى الشرح. لكن نشكرك على حضورك والمعذره اننا يعني خليناك تجي متاخر اذا انت يعني جاي تشوف الحدث. بس حدث سواليف. لكن تابعوا مقاطعنا، ترى ننزل مقاطع. اللي يحب اخبار الالعاب، اخبار الافلام، اخبار الاخبار بشكل عام الترفيه راح ننزل يعني في القناه، يعني مو بس يعني بثوث مباشره. بس يعني حبيت اوضح هذا الشيء للشباب. كذا عاد راح نختم البث. شكرا للشباب الجديد اللي حضروا، نشكر كل اللي حضروا الجدد والقدامى على الحضور ومتابعة البث النايم حق ديد باي دايلايت. عاد بنعطيكم آراءنا بعدين إذا قدرنا نلعب بالكيلر ونشوف عاد وش وضعه. عاد بكذا نختم البث. شكرا يا شباب وإلى اللقاء.